Hello and welcome in. We are back. Excited to be streaming. We are, what is this now? Day 4 of 31 days of best ball. We are going to be streaming live all the way up, leading to the NFL kickoff. Excited to be back here with y'all again tonight. We're going to be drafting a Best Ball Mania over here on Underdog Fantasy. I'm about to hit enter. And if you guys don't get to hop on this particular draft, we will be drafting another Underdog Fantasy shortly after this. So we are over here doing a Best Ball Mania. Thank you guys so much for coming on and hopping on the show. As always, nothing better than to talk some football, do some drafting alongside of you guys. And these 31 days of best ball, we got a lot of surprises and excitement and some announcements, whatever you may want to call it. But I'm looking forward to doing this all with you guys. We have plans. We have Felix Castro coming on next week, winner of DK Millie, the DraftKings Millie Maker. He was the one who won it a few years back. I want to say it was 2022. So if you guys are interested in that, we will be coming on. He is coming in, I believe, on Monday. And then on Tuesday, I am hopping on his show. I got to get that information correct. But I know Monday and Tuesday, he's coming on and I'll be on his channel as well. So I'll make sure to get that information to you guys as soon as possible. And then we have Zane Danani on next Thursday at 9 p.m. Central. Really excited to get Zane on. We just got the announcement today that he is now joining Fantasy Life. So really good stuff for him. I'm excited for him. And he'll be on the show giving us all the latest news out of training camp and drafting alongside of us as well, a best ball team. Again, we are waiting for 3 people for this draft to fill. We are over here on Underdog Fantasy drafting a Best Ball Mania. And for those just jumping on, welcome to the stream. Make sure to like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button to stay locked in for all and everything we have leading up to the NFL kickoff. We are streaming every single day from here to then. And once the regular season kicks off, we have a lot of good content coming out as well for this season. All right, our luck on getting the 101 back-to-back days. Maybe we still have a shot with the next draft. So if you guys didn't get on this one, once again, we'll be on another one after this. But we are selecting here out of the 8th spot. So we shall see how that works out for us. Go ahead and pull this board up here and get all situated. We got the 8th spot. The news today, if you are obviously clicking into that link, we got the Kyler Murray news. He is officially starting for the Minnesota Vikings. And that indeed is very important for someone like Kyler Murray, who now doesn't have to worry about splitting his first team reps alongside JJ McCarthy. I think it's very important when someone is brand new to the system to walk on in and get all first team reps so that he can start building rapport with guys like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jawan Jennings, TJ Hawkinson. I mean, you name it, the team as a whole. And if you really take a step back and really think about it, JJ McCarthy's been in this offense for a very long time. There is really honestly no need for him to take on these first team reps if they do indeed believe that Kyler Murray should be the guy winning the job. He's familiar with this offense, and in the case that Kyler Murray doesn't pan out or work out sometime during the regular season, expect JJ McCarthy to jump right in. Very interested to see what happens moving forward now with him. We get Ashton Genty on in the 5th spot. Haven't seen that lately in a while, but we got it here. We got JSN and then Christian McCaffrey. We are now up on the board. We're going to go ahead and take Amon-Ra St. Brown. go ahead. And if you guys are joining us for the very first time, we do something over here. Big Bears fan, but outside of that, I'm really excited for that Week 17 correlation between the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. It's going to be played at Chicago, and we expect, and I say we, all of us should be expecting that game to be very meaningful. I think the Detroit Lions come back a lot stronger this season and hopefully healthier for their sake. And if so, I expect that game to have many. I think it's going to be a meaningful game for sure. We'll see how the Minnesota Viking plays out. We got Justin Jefferson going at 11th. I don't think there's going to be much. I mean, one of the biggest things with news, right? And the news we get, I don't think Kyler Murray's news really is going to shake too much up as far as like the counterparts, like the Justin Jefferson, the Jordan Addison. Maybe we see Kyler Murray move up a little bit more. But for the most part, I believe that most of that has been baked into his ADP. So I think most people expected him to start. I think if you believe JJ McCarthy was starting, I don't know what to tell you, but it seemed pretty obvious that this was the route they were going to go, especially when they went after him and signing him. Had he not started, we obviously would have been much more concerned. All right, we take Amon-Ra St. Brown here. I've been taking a lot of Derrick Henry. I do like Devon Achane here, but let's stick to the offense. Let's go ahead and take Derrick Henry here. Feel like that makes the most sense. Every year we are betting that Derrick Henry at some point is going to fall off. Age is going to impact him, and maybe that's so. But until he proves us otherwise, I don't see why we shouldn't be taking him in the second round. And if he gives us pretty much anything near he typically does, then we obviously would have been drafting him a lot higher. The what ifs, right? Let me go ahead and pull up the board here for you guys. The what ifs in fantasy, right? The CMC, we talk about this just about every night. The guys with all these, I mean, basically these predictions that most people have going into the seasons. You know, is AJ Brown, I believe he's 29 years old. Is he getting older? Is he injury prone? You know, and some of these guys start falling because of that. And obviously this is how ADP is formed out. There is stories behind each player. Devon Achane would be getting drafted higher had it not been for Mike McDaniels leaving and the Miami Dolphins looking possibly like the worst team in the National Football League. Had that not been the case, he would be getting drafted higher on talent alone. But I've made this known before too. Guys on bad teams can still capitalize and produce fantasy points. So although I want to take into effect what teams they play in and the game environments they may be on, some of these players are way too talented to not still pay off their current price. All right, on that one turn, we get the Gibbs, Rashee Rice, and George Pickens. Zay Flowers here at pick 26. Everything's starting to sound a lot better when it comes to Zay Flowers. I mean, the news, each and every day, we talked a lot about Alec Pierce and that scenario and everything that's going down with him. If you guys were following along early in this summer, I would say, we were drafting Chris Olave a lot later, and a lot of it was due to the news around him, his extension. I believe he had blood clots too. I mean, there was some injury stuff going on with him, and then due to his circumstances too in the NFL with concussions, I felt like he was just getting drafted so late. So we took a ton of him then, and now his price is getting more to an appropriate place. Speaking of ADP, Jeremiah Love just seems to keep falling. I'm going to go ahead and take Jeremiah Love here. I like him in the third round. You know, we talked about Ashton Genty and the fear of drafting a rookie running back. But Jeremiah Love, when it's all said and done, Nathaniel Hackett could keep talking and keep saying everything he needs to say. I still fully expect Jeremiah Love to take on the majority of that workload. They drafted him third overall. He's going to be playing significantly in that offense. If it's not week one, he will be playing the majority of the season. at that high level. Jalen Waddle goes there. Lad McConkey. We're 5 picks away. I'll still pull up the board here just to see how things round up. Usually in this corner pick right here, round 12, you do see the CeeDee Lamb, Javonte Williams mix. Then you get Saquon and T. Higgins. T. Higgins with a little bit of a drop here going into the 4th round. It seems like his price has gotten a lot better. And there goes Kyron also taking a dip as well. T. Higgins' price feels a lot better than he was a few years ago in the same environment, the same scenario when we were drafting him literally like right here in this 2-3 turn. And now you are getting him in the 3-4 turn at times. Josh Jacobs goes. That's an interesting one. Not too sure what's going to happen there. Let's go ahead. We have pick 41 here. I think we should be going wide receiver. I'm going to go ahead and take Luther Burden. I fully expect him to be okay. I've been taking a lot of bets this offseason and doing it with Malik Neighbors and such. Why not continue the trend here? I don't think he was really going to make it to me on this other way around. That's 13 picks past. And I think there was just more risk with some of the players on the board. Colston Loveland was still there, but I like the need at wide receiver and making sure we got more there. But we get to correlate Amon-Ra and Luther Burden, and in a perfect world, we do get Luther Burden back week 1, which is the expectations right now. So if we get him back in week 1, all systems go for that. So really excited for that. Once again, we are drafting here, Best Ball Mania over here on Underdog Fantasy. We are doing a BBM as we start inching closer to the regular season. I'll be drafting every day until the NFL officially kicks off. Looking forward to the preseason this week. We're going to get some games in. We're going to start seeing some folks. I believe the latest news we got is that Fernando Mendoza's first preseason game is expected to take a lot of snaps, which kind of goes to tie alongside this notion that he's not going to start the regular season, that it really is going to be Kirk Cousins in my eyes. And I think now they're just going to take their time, develop him correctly, and bring him on board slowly. But I do expect him to start somewhere midway into the season. In a rare scenario, Kirk Cousins plays out of his mind and plays more games, but I still expect Fernando Mendoza to start at some point this season. I really do believe that. I don't think the Raiders are really in position to be competing deep this season at least. But I do like some of the pieces they added, including Tyler Linderbaum was a massive piece to that offensive line to help that run game, and someone like Ashton Genty, who went 5th overall in this draft. I've done this in the past, so it's actually less rare than it is now. I've seen more people do it. All right, we get Parker Washington at pick number 52, someone who just keeps flying up the boards. If we get DJ Moore here, I plan to take him. And sure enough, we do. We could take Lamar, but I'm going to go ahead and take DJ Moore. This also correlates this Chicago piece because in week 15, they play at Buffalo. So that plays into that row too. I know most people don't want to play DJ Moore or draft DJ Moore. I have no issues drafting DJ Moore. A lot of the conversation has been with the connections to Joe Brady, which I think is relevant and it is very important. I also think the draft capital they traded, which was a 2nd round pick for his services over there, and then just the need at wide receiver, I think he's going to play a big role in this offense, and Josh Allen's going to lean heavily on him as his number 1 option. We'll see if Dalton Kincaid takes a next step. Heck, even if Keon Coleman maybe starts playing a little bit better, we'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities, especially in this wide receiver room, for just, chances to really be that wide receiver 2. I think DJ Moore, I've been saying this in my drafts too, I think DJ Moore really impacts Khalil Shakir. So it's someone I'm not drafting at all unless he just drops significantly and I have a total need there. Would love to take Jadarian Price here if I get him. If not, which he could go here because I see 3 running backs, 1 wide receiver for And there we go. We do get Jadarian Price. Adam here. We're going to start off in this draft with a 3-3 build, going a little bit balanced at those premium positions. And then we'll see how things pan out here. Usually I like to add maybe a Caleb Williams here to just start the stack. But there are other routes that we can take given the players that we have drafted. Let me go ahead and pull up the board here. We were talking a little bit about the Buffalo Bills. We were talking about DJ Moore there. Jadarian Price, all pun intended here, but his price seems to keep dipping for whatever reason. I think there is this fear that most people have. We're getting more good news, I guess, on Zach Charbonnet and the possibility of him not starting, but playing a lot earlier than expected. And then the noise, I guess, around George Halani. I think when it's all said and done, Jadarian is going to get the majority of those reps, and I'm going to keep drafting him and taking that stance there, especially if we're getting him in the 6th. And if we start getting him in the 7th round, I think the exposure on Jadarian Price is going to increase mightily for me. We saw Jordan Tyson, we saw Carnell Tate, 2 rookies in this year's draft, get taken there in the 6th round. This is usually when the quarterback runs go. Do we get lucky here? No, we don't. Caleb goes off the board. And I believe, it was to the Colston Loveland drafter. Thought we had a chance on seeing him fall to us, and we didn't. I am interested here to see what falls our way. We do get quarterbacks. We have some. I think we should go Josh Downs here. I see Cortland Sutton's name here, and that is the name that we're going to start seeing drop much more, given all the hype behind Pat Bryant, and rightfully so. Pat Bryant played so well down the stretch last year. So the word out right now is that he is leapfrogging Cortland Sutton for that wide receiver 2 position. And we were drafting Pat Bryant late in drafts, 18th round, like literally late round. Sometimes he would go undrafted. No longer the case. I think I saw him as high as round 13 the other night. Can't really remember. We've been drafting the last 4 nights, but it was one of these nights that I did see him go as high as either round 13 or round 14. We're probably going to start seeing that a little bit more. Kind of like how we saw Stephon Diggs take a jump, and Deebo Samuel, DeJon Stribling. Like, once news is officially out there, the hype gets real, and they start translating over here on these best ball streets. See, they go Jonathan Brooks and Justin Herbert. We are 3 picks away. This Alec Pierce news, speaking of Cortland Sutton, these 2 guys will probably not be getting drafted in the 8th round no more. And as I say that, Cortland Sutton gets taken. But I fully expect these 2 to drop significantly. We'll see how that looks. We have a 3-4 build. I think here the right move. Sam Laporta just went. Let's go ahead. Am I torn here to take a Rico Dotto? Or should we get our guy? Let's get our guy. Because if we're going to go in this 50-50 backfield, we might as well get the guy we feel the most comfortable with. And the guy I've been drafting a ton, and that's Blake Corum. So I'm going to go ahead and take Blake Corum there. Have no issues with Rico Dotto and Jaylen Warren. But I think you're obviously drafting both guys right around the same area, same round, maybe a round before at times, versus Blake Corum and Kyron Williams, who we saw drop here. He dropped into the 4th round. That has been more of the case with him. There was a time he was getting drafted right here early in the 3rd round, right around where Breece Hall was getting taken. That is no longer the case. He is dropping because we're starting to get more word on Blake Corum. One of the great things about drafting early during the offseason is starting to take stance, either right or wrong, but that is That is how you play fantasy football. That is how you get these angles and you do your research and you basically put it all together, right? We took our stance and we said Blake Corum is getting drafted way too low given what he did last season and what the expectation should be going into the season. And now that the word is out there, we're officially starting to see that room go. What's up, No Limit Soda? Welcome back to the stream. Good to have you on. And for those who are just jumping on for the first time, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification button to stay locked in when we would be drafting. Typically, we're drafting right around this same time most nights, and there will be scenarios like, for instance, I mentioned we're going to have a few guests on next week, and one of them being Zayn Danani, who just got announced as a new addition for Fantasy Life, Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life team over there. Really excited to have him on next Thursday at 9 p.m. Central. That will be the time we are hopping on doing a live best ball draft. He'll be giving you guys all the latest in training camp, preseason. We're going to get it all locked in here. All right, we got a 4-4. We can get Stafford. We can get Golf. I think I'm going to take Golf here, and we're going to play it a little bit on the safer side and get our quarterback, and then see where these wide receivers drop. I know we got a few picks away there, especially with some of these guys right next to us who had no quarterback. So the expectation would have been big here, especially with this G. Hartman. I wonder if that's Gary Hartman over from ETR, but with him having Sam Laporta, Jared Goff wouldn't have made it over to me, especially with 2 picks prior to my next selection. So we take our quarterback. Kyler Murray goes there, 110. That's been about the range that he's been going in the 10th round. Again, I don't know how high he's going to move up. Maybe just a round, to be truthfully honest. Maybe in this 8-9 if you're trying to build a Jordan Addison, Kyler Murray combo there, stack. I see that making a lot of sense. All right, basically the position I want to be in here. 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 1 quarterback. We can go some different routes here. I think we should go wide receiver. We have Rashad White, Kenny Gainwell. I feel good. Do we think Matthew Stafford makes sense on this team? I'm going to go ahead and just take Matthew Stafford. Thought about some of these wide receivers. But let's take our second quarterback here. We have Blake Corum. I've actually done this correlation a few times. I think it's perfectly fine here, especially with the wide receivers. There's not really much. I mean, it's really a preference thing. The guy I was leaning in on was Casey Concepcion here over some of these guys here. Wan'Dale Robinson is fine as well. I feel like Wan'Dale Robinson, to me, and I like to make this known, I just think he is so much better for PPR format. As most of you guys know, if you play fantasy football, he's a perfect fit there. He's set perfectly for that format. Also, what if Wan'Dale Robinson doesn't catch a lot of the touchdowns and those touchdowns go over to Carnell Tate? Then you got to also take into effect, when thinking about that team and their offense, how much will the Tennessee Titans be scoring at all this season, right? So perfectly fine with the route we went, 2-4-4. So we started off with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Derrick Henry, Jeremiah Love, Luther Burden, DJ Moore, Jadarian Price, Josh Downs, Blake Corum, Jared Goff, and Matthew Stafford. Pretty balanced build in my opinion. I think there's some tight ends we can take a look at as we go further along, and we'll be able to prioritize more positions given just the layout that we have. I think the 4 running backs that we have outside of Jadarian Price and Blake Corum having the similar bye weeks, I feel strong going into it right now. The wide receiver room feels good too. Obviously, the expectation is that Luther Burden starts week 1 in the regular season when drafting him there in the 4th round. But we're correlated right now with him. Detroit, Buffalo, And then we need to get a Green Bay player shortly. All right, let's pull up the board as we see things moving. I think one position here that I would not mind getting, I don't hate Jalen Coker here, but I think Mark Andrews kind of fits the build that I want to put here. I know we didn't get Lamar Jackson, but I do got the running game and then hopefully the passing game. And there we go. We do get Mark Andrews. Tyler Shuck takes a little bit of a dip there, and that's fine. We get Mark Andrews and we help ourselves out in the tight end room. Lito, what's up? Welcome to the stream again. Funny how the Kyler Murray news might push him up, but I'm seeing Jefferson dipping closer towards the end of the first. Yeah, man. And even if he gets pushed up, right, how high is he going to go? I don't think he goes high because we were talking about that at the beginning of the stream. I feel like his ADP, all that stuff is kind of baked into it right now, currently where he's getting selected. The Justin Jefferson part, it is funny for sure. I think once folks start hearing more good news in terms of their chemistry and their rapport during training camp, and then if we get to see some stuff during the preseason, then obviously I think Justin Jefferson starts making his way up, because that's what most people are going to want to see. What is it? This is like I think 4 different quarterbacks they've had for week 1. If we're going back, they've had Sam Darnold, we have JJ McCarthy, Kyler Murray, and then who else was it? Was it Kirk? I'm not sure. I mean, I think I saw that stat earlier today, but it's just crazy how that's looked, and then how Justin Jefferson really hasn't had any consistency back there too. I'm sure that has been annoying for him, especially given the talent there. All right, we do get Rashid Shaheed here, which I love taking. So we got 2 pieces from the Seattle team. It was between Stribling or Shaheed, and we get Shaheed. We'll see if Stribling drops our way. Sam Darnold gets taken there. Would have been nice to get Darnold on the back end just to keep the stack alive, especially with Jadarian Price. Would have been nice as well. We have Mark Andrews at tight end. Keaton Mitchell goes off the board. That's another news we have yet to talk about. We heard Mike McDaniels basically mention that all 3 running backs will have a role. And to be quite honest, I felt that was always known going into the season. All 3 were going to have some type of role. As far as what those roles look like, well, we'll see once the regular season kicks off. But I feel like I've been drafting knowing damn well that Kamani Vidal has a role, Keaton Mitchell has a role, and then obviously Omarion Hampton is expected to be the running back 1. As far as everything else, Keaton Mitchell has been a fun click. I've enjoyed clicking him where we do. I think Kamani Vidal is just someone who's been very consistent for them. And then he's a pretty good pass blocker as well. So that's going to help him stay on the field as well. Words I'm sure you hear very often, but in reality, does play a big role. It does, because if your running back can't pass block well enough, they're not going to be on the field as much. And surprisingly, that was Travion Henderson last season, and the impact that brought to him, struggling as much as he struggled with, especially knowing how good he was in college. We'll see if those things change as well for Henderson, and then we'll see if things start improving for Hampton as well, if we're going to see him more. But my whole thing with Omarion Hampton and where he's getting drafted, I'm just a big believer that he's going to be the guy when it's all said and done, taking most of the work inside the 5. So as long as he's getting all that touchdown upside, I think you're fine drafting him in the 2nd round. And then the upside he carries is really high. And how they, how I fully expect them to utilize him in a Mike McDaniels offense. Well, of course, that's one of the reasons, and that is also baked into his ADP. All right, we're coming up here. We got a 2-4-5-1 build. We got some options up on the board here. We could go Algier, who gets taken there, of course. Travis Hunter taking a little bit of a dip. We'll mark this down here. Let's go ahead. Where are we here? Round 13. Go ahead and take Hunter. Did we not get him? We didn't get him, right? That's fine. I'm cool with Tank Bigsby. We get Bigsby here. Man, I let that clock burn, y'all. Start doing a lot of talking and then forget I'm on the clock. All right, we got Travis Hunter, Jalen Naylor, Jawan Jennings, Trey Tucker, Ryan Flournoy, who just gets taken off the board. And then Trey Harris. We got some other options down below as well, including having Jared Goff. At tight end, we can go a few different routes here. I think I might wait one more round before making another selection there. Have no problems even going down and taking an Isaac Tesla. The other option that I'm intrigued by up here right now is with like Jonah Coleman. I know our running back room is full. We do have Derrick Henry, but we have a lot of rookies. Therefore, especially given scenarios like Tank Bigsby might be playing a little bit more this year. The word out right now is that Saquon Barkley, they're going to be a little bit less on him in terms of touches and such to kind of preserve him and get him ready for the playoffs. Tank Bigsby is a pretty good running back, so maybe just maybe the plan is there. I think I am going down that route. Let's go ahead and take Jonah Coleman here. Yeah, we're going to take Jonah Coleman. We are doing, see, this is the beauty of drafting BBMs. Doing different things, telling ourselves different stories. So far, we're in a 2-6-5-1 build. In most cases, we're drafting differently here based on construction alone, adding more wide receivers. But in this one, we're going to go to a 2-6-5-1 build. And I'm done at running back in my, right now, I can pretty much say that unless something grand happens later on, which I doubt. Let's go ahead and mention what we have here, especially at running back here. Let me pull up this screen here to have it clean. We have Derrick Henry, Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, Tank Bigsby, and Jonah Coleman. We have 6 running backs. By week wise, we have Jadarian Price and Blake Corum with week 11, Tank Bigsby and Jonah Coleman with by week 10. 2 quarterbacks, and then we got some pretty strong wide receivers. In that case, allowed me to go down that route at running back. Thank you so much for those who are hopping on for the very first time. For those who have been kicking it with us here the last couple days, thank you as well. If you guys haven't liked the video, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification button. We got a lot of exciting things to come. We have some fun announcements. We've mentioned a few guests that are coming on next week, so make sure you guys are locked in here. And we're going to be drafting every single day till the NFL officially kicks off, which is exciting, and we get to enjoy this journey together. We got a nice preseason slate this upcoming week. Looking forward to that. I'm a big DFS player, so I myself will be playing. There goes Ferguson. I was hoping to get Ferguson there, of course. Ferguson is already at, this is so crazy how high Ferguson's going. I love it though. He's good. And he was going to fit perfectly with my Matthew Stafford. All right, well, let's see. We are going to pivot. If Tesla is there, we're going to take Tesla, pair him alongside. There we go. We get a Rondé Gatson taken off the board. We're going to take Tesla here. We're going to completely shift away from the running back position. We're going to take a look at some tight ends here. And easier to make these move with Greg Dulcich off the board. Hopefully it doesn't go too crazy, but we got 2 tight ends here and a few others. So we might get a chance at getting one more guy out of these bunch that I'm okay with taking. If not, we're going to do some deeper looks. And there are options later on. Perfectly fine with taking like a Colby Parkinson on this team as well, given the scenario. Not here in the 16th round. That's not my goal. But if I could get him later on, that would be cool. At quarterback, I think we should be really considering. We'll see how things shape up here, but I think Fernando Mendoza is right around the range I start taking him here. And we might actually have to take him here before tight end. Get a quarterback 3, especially with this type of build. So I know I mentioned yesterday just about the quarterback position and how I typically take a 3rd quarterback. In some cases, depending on who you draft high, I've used examples like maybe like Drake May and Dak Prescott. Probably not taking a quarterback 3 at that time, given the ADP and the price that I'm paying for those guys. To get a third quarterback, it would really be here. See, I would typically take Gunnar Helm here. I like Gunnar Helm there. But we're going to go ahead and secure our third quarterback. This is the type of room, in my opinion, that we need that, given the style play that these two guys play as well. Solid fantasy quarterbacks, very solid fantasy quarterbacks. But I also like throwing a young guy in there and a guy who I expect to start at some point this season. So getting him in round 16 with the type of upside Fernando Mendoza has, I think it's pretty good to pass up. We did take him, I think it was yesterday, we took him in round 17, and I've taken him a few times in that same round. Got to take him while he's there. Would not surprise me if he starts moving up. Now with a guy like Fernando Mendoza, round 18, I like to mess around. He's got some wide receivers that I'm okay with taking there, and even playing around with getting like Michael Mayer, who I've been getting a little bit more of. Obviously, if I can draft Brock Bowers every draft, I will. But that's usually not the case. So I don't mind taking a guy like Michael Mayer, who I fully expect to have a strong role this season. Still think he's a really good tight end. And surprised they never traded him, but that also just tells you on how much they value him. So we got a 3-6-6-1 build. Obviously falling a little bit behind at the tight end position, but I'm not too worried. We can make ground up back here. In a perfect world, let's see, we got 6 wide receivers. I think I'm going to have to lean, and this is what happens when we get 6 running backs. I think I'm going, depending on who we get here, we might have to lean in on 2 tight ends, but we'll see how this looks. I usually feel more comfortable with 7 to 8 wide receivers in best ball formats. Pat Bryant goes. See, this is a good place to start taking Pat Bryant. He goes in round 17, so the value is still strong for Pat Bryant there. Keenan Allen is starting to move up a little bit higher as well. All right, let's pull up our sheet here. Let's see what we have. If Gunnar Helm happens to just magically be there, we're going to take him, because that was a guy I was considering over in round 16. So that would be honestly pretty solid. Gunnar Helm obviously goes there. At wide receiver, we got Boudet, we got Ted Hurst. Let's go ahead and take Kobe Parkinson here. We mentioned him. We have Matthew Stafford on this team. And then honestly, we're going to try to survive. Let's see. Wide receiver. I think the one guy that I haven't taken much of, and we talked about, is Caleb Douglas. Has been getting a lot of noise. But really hard to just bank in that offense. Kayshon Boutte would be really nice here. If he happens to still be on the board, I think he's got a strong role whatsoever on that team. Yeah, I think that might be the route, and not focus too into correlating Fernando Mendoza, as nice as that would be. I think we should go wide receiver here. We got a 6, 10, 7, 13, 11, 6. So really just, yeah. And then we got 2 guys playing for Detroit here. Let's see how this pans out for us here. We're a few picks away. We'll let this last round play out. We'll recap the team, and then we're going to hop on another Best Ball Mania. So if you guys want to draft alongside of me, I will hit enter and let you guys know so that we can all jump on together. I think the backup move here, if magically Boutte gets taken here, and he does not. Beautiful. All right, we get Kayshon Boutte. Perfect. Nice little route there for us. We got a little week 17 correlation. Did we get that? Yep, with Kayshon Boutte and Jonah Coleman. So it ended up being correlated, which is perfect. Let me pull up the board here, show you guys how the last couple picks play out. Again, we're going to recap the team real quickly here after these last 3 picks, and then we're going to jump on another Best Ball Mania if you guys want to hop on alongside of me. Let's see who Mr. Irrelevant or could be relevant player in this draft is. Darnell Mooney gets taken there. Wow, Ty Johnson, I haven't really seen him get drafted often. And Cooper Kupp. So Cooper Kupp could be very relevant there. No Sam Darnold, right? No, because I saw A.J. Barner on this team. They got a 4 tight end team. I see that. So 2-4-8-4. Interesting build. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here. Again, we're going to be drafting another best ball mania there. Stay locked in if you guys want to jump in the same draft. We got a 3-6-7-2 build. At quarterback, we got Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Fernando Mendoza. At running back, we got Derrick Henry, Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, Blake Corum, Tank Bigsby, Jonah Coleman. At wide receiver, we got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Luther Burden, DJ Moore, Josh Downs, Rashid Shaheed, Isaac Tesla, Kayshon Boutte. And then at tight end, we got Mark Andrews and Kobe Parkinson. I need a healthy Mark Andrews season to feel strong about this tight end room here. So let's go ahead. That was a BBM. We're going to be drafting another BBM here. If you guys want to hop on, I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And now confirm. Oh, and this draft is full. There we go. We get the 8th spot again. Wow. Wow. No luck tonight, y'all. There we go. Pulling up the board here on the other side. All right, we got pick 8. Back-to-back pick 8s. Let's see what we do here. Maybe we do something a little bit different. We'll see how things play out for us. We got 30 seconds before the draft starts. While we wait here, thank you guys so much for hopping on. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification button. We got some fun things planned out. We've been talking about Kyler Murray and the addition of Kyler Murray to the Minnesota Vikings this offseason. He has been named the starter. He will be QB1 for the Minnesota Vikings. And why that is important that we're getting this news today on August 11th, well, we no longer have to hear about him and JJ McCarthy splitting work for those first team reps. We no longer have to hear if JJ McCarthy is having a better day than Kyler Murray or if Kyler Murray is having a better day than JJ McCarthy. We no longer have to worry about that. We might still hear those things, but as far as playing with the first team, that is all that matters right now. Kyler Murray gets that. He gets to work directly with the starters, and that's going to pay hopefully dividends for them, right? That's what their goal is. And they can really install this offensive package and playbook and everything they need to give them. JJ McCarthy's been in this offense already for a few years now. Should know this offense pretty well. And I'm sure he'll get an opportunity if Kyler Murray does not do well. But as far as fantasy goes, right? I want to touch in a little bit on that. And we're going to wait right here before we pick. We are 2 picks away. Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Chase, Puka Nacua, JSN. Amon-Ra goes at pick 6. So we are 100% going to do something different here. Now the question is, do we go running back? Yes, we do. We're going to go ahead and take Christian McCaffrey. I think he's just fell right perfectly for us with pick number 8. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the board. And then we'll pull back here shortly in a second. So what is special about Kyler Murray, right? For fantasy purposes, well, we got a guy with mobility. We got a guy with arm talent and experience as a starter. Kevin O'Connell is a highly raved about offensive-minded guy, has worked with multiple quarterbacks and has gotten the best out of them as far as we got, right? You know, the JJ McCarthy situation was more due to JJ than it was due to Kevin O'Connell's offense. We saw what Sam Darnold did in this offense the year prior to winning a Super Bowl. He took that Minnesota Vikings team to the playoffs, and we saw how well he played. Heck, we've even seen Carson Wentz play well in this offense. So Kyler Murray's really set up for success here. And then for fantasy purposes, right, he's got that mobility. So he's got the rushing upside. He's got the ability, you know, to do things that we like for fantasy, and that's being dual threat quarterback. Now, in recency, we haven't seen him play that dual threat role as much as we would like to see him for fantasy purposes. But I expect Kevin O'Connell to have more design stuff for him, and that in return should pay off for those who draft him. All right, we're back on the board here. Kenneth Walker seems like the fit here for me. I'm going to select him with no issues there. But yeah, the upside is there. I think one of the reasons why he's getting drafted where he's getting drafted is because it's recency bias, right? It's recent Kyler Murray. But if we were getting anything of the Kyler Murray who succeeded the first couple seasons in Arizona under, God, why am I forgetting his name? He was with Washington, and now I believe he's with the Rams. But when he was under that specific offense, we got to see a really strong year from him, especially on the rushing side. That is why he's getting drafted where he's getting drafted now. And when we do select him, our hopes is that he gives us that upside. Having Justin Jefferson, I mean, he's really set up in a great scenario too, right? Feels like any quarterback that goes there is set up well. They got a pretty strong team. They got a decent offensive line. So they've added pieces. And then, of course, they have the offensive-minded Kevin O'Connell that everyone likes. I have to pull up this name. It's going to kill me once I find out what his name was. It's right in the back of my head, too. Cliff Kingsbury. My God. Might be just because it's late. But I had that name stuck in my head. I'm like, what was his name? Cliff Kingsbury. He's been all over the place, right? Kingsbury's been going everywhere. He was even at USC in Caleb Williams last season as well, when he was a part of that staff over there with Lincoln Riley. All right, we are about to come up here. We see Egbuka jump up to pick number 25. He is someone that I just don't have a ton of. And it's a price thing more than it is the overall player. I've been struggling drafting him in the third round, and in this case, I don't have that option. I've clicked his names here and there. I have not completely faded him, but I am fading him more than I am clicking him, right? All right, we're about to pull up here, but that is a guy I am wondering if I should be higher on, but that's the good part of having some guests that we're about to have on next week and see if they give us different takes. Do we go 3 running backs here? I haven't had one of those starts in a while. Jeremiah Love drops once again here, right, to pick number 32, which is very possible. If not, we move. And now we got that scenario in place. I think it's very important we go wide receiver here. I got a lot of Jeremiah Love. I like our start with Christian McCaffrey and Kenneth Walker. I think we should be going Zay Flowers here. I'm a little bit torn between Zay and T. Higgins, but I'm going to go ahead and take Zay. I do like where we're taking Zay. I think another year of him, we're going to see that alpha row for him. And I truly, truly believe that Declan Doyle will utilize him better than he has been utilized the last couple of seasons. This prospect that came out of Boston College that we were all excited to see at the NFL level. We've seen him flash. We've seen him do just the stuff that we hoped and expected him coming out of college to be. I think Declan Doyle is going to have a lot of fun things as far as his game plan goes for Zay. So I want to get a little more Zay Flowers. I like where we're drafting him in the third round. I've seen him in cases go a lot higher than this. And in those, I'm not clicking his name as much. I like paying him at this price and then still banking and hoping for that upside versus paying for his ceiling and not getting what we want. Garrett Wilson in the 4th round. That has been typically where he goes. Been taking a lot more Adonai Mitchell later on. And I feel the noise behind Adonai Mitchell has been strong. Jalen Waddle goes off the board there. Let's see, where are we here? We have not taken much, if not a lot, of Josh Allen. Pull that up too. We got Tet McMillan, who just came off the board. I like Luther. Are we taking too much Luther? Possibly. I haven't done a Colston Loveland team in a little bit, and he's still someone I have. I'm going to go ahead and take Loveland here. add a tight end to this room, get us a elite tight end, and then we're going to see how the build looks differently here. This last draft that we did from the 8th pick, we waited a while before getting our tight ends, and as you can see, things can start thinning out. But typically, I feel like when you're in these lobbies, most cases you see most folks wait for their tight ends later on. And in that case, I was in a room where a lot of us were waiting for the same things, in which we saw them fly off the boards. Now, my biggest question here, as we're 12 picks away, does Luther Burden manage to drop to pick 56? We'll see. I have seen him go in the 5th round now. I think, as always, when we get news, and rightfully so, some are going to be cautious, and there he goes, pick number 45. Some are cautious and are worried, but I don't like to play like that. I like to still take a guy if the news that we're getting right now is the expectation is that he'll be back by week 1. But if in this case that it doesn't, we did draft differently here, right? We got Colston Loveland instead of Luther Burden, so we should benefit greatly from that. Josh Jacobs, right? That's a guy I wanted to talk a little bit on. I heard a clip, and I need to listen to the rest of that Adam Schefter podcast, but he mentioned a few names. I mean, he mentioned some defensive players and some other position players, but he did mention Puka Nacua and Josh Jacobs possibly being suspended to start the season. If we got that news, that changes things for sure. So hopefully we hear very soon what the league decides on these two particular players with their offseason issues, and obviously know the length of it, right? That's what we're all waiting to hear, because I guarantee you if Puka Nacua is not playing his first 4 games or 3 games or whatever it may be, that will impact where he's getting drafted. You'll see an impact there. Even if it's a few picks off, it's going to change the way these draft rooms look. Josh Jacobs already being taken in the 4th round. If we get any words that he is going to get suspended this season, he's going to drop a lot more as well. Very hard to determine how that's going to shape out, but definitely keeping a close ear. And then when a guy like Adam Schefter is reporting those things, definitely paid attention to that. Roman Duzic gets taken right where I had wanted to get him. Do I get into this Parker? Well, no, we got to take Lamar Jackson. Just looking at my team, we got Zay. Got to get that stack there. I was about to do the Parker Washington stunt that I haven't done yet. We are 8 picks away from our next pick. We'll see if he's there, but I highly doubt it. He is going firmly in this 5th round now. So crazy. Many of us, and myself included, I will say that, I've been a bigger Brian Thomas Jr. drafter this year, on Underdog specifically. On the other side, I've taken more Parker Washington over Brian Thomas. But on Underdog, I have not loved Parker Washington's price, but the drumbeat on Parker Washington can't get any more louder. And there he goes, taken in pick 59. Almost made it back to the 6th round. But yeah, he's been going in the 5th round more often than not. So we'll see how this plays out. But definitely we need to get back on this wide receiver room here. We definitely went down a different route. 1-2-1-1 build. Let's see how we turn it around. Tyler Warren, I mentioned him yesterday, is a guy. It's so hard to select them based off of like how I've been making builds lately, but I feel like the exposure should be a lot more for a player like him, just given all the news that we've gotten out of that receiver room with injuries and such, including the Alec Pierce news. There goes Brian Thomas, who I plan to take there. We're going to go ahead and take Jordan Tyson here. Take him over Marv Harrison, who I had plans to take as well. But I'm going to go take a guy who I am really high on in this offense right now. I feel like I got a lot of exposure to this New Orleans team, specifically with Chris Olave, one of my higher exposed wide receivers. I do like this offense, and I, as everyone who is high on this offense, need a big year from Tyler Shuck to make this work. But I truly believe another year under Kellen Moore should do good things for this offense. Brian Thomas gets taken, obviously, the pick right before us after having all that conversation about him. So we'll see how this plays out for us here. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. If it's your first time here with us, welcome. Make sure to like the video, hit the subscription button if you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that notification button and stay locked in with everything that we have coming up soon. We got a few guests next week. I'm going to keep announcing it because I'm really excited for what we have. We got a few other guests that we're just waiting to hear and getting these dates locked in. So we got Felix Castro. He won the DraftKings Millionaire a few years back, best ball. And he'll be on talking a little bit about his strategy and what got him that $1 million win. So really excited to have him on. I'll be jumping on his channel as well. So I'll make sure to drop all that information to you guys. And then next Thursday, we got Zane Denani, who's going to be hopping on our show. Just got announced as part of Matthew Berry's fantasy life. Really excited for him. If you guys have been following him on Twitter, he's been a great follow all off season, giving us all the latest, every information we have needed for fantasy purposes and in these best ball streets. So really excited to have him on. We're going to have him on next Thursday at 9 p.m. Central. He'll be here with us live, drafting a best ball team and giving you guys all the latest information, as well as all the preseason games that are coming up. We got a fun slate this weekend. We've been getting more news on different players and what type of workload they're going to be getting. I think I read today Daniel Jones is expected not to play this preseason. Guys, I'm a little concerned about this Indianapolis Colts team. Really, really concerned about Indy right now. In return has made me a little bit skeptical on drafting Jonathan Taylor. But to pay all that money to Alec Pierce and to pay all that money to Daniel Jones, coming off of these major injuries, I mean, the expectation obviously was that these guys were going to start off the season. And it sounds like more and more of these things don't look as good as we thought they would look. Obviously, it sounds more precautionary with Daniel Jones. So, you know, their expectation is obviously going to be ready for week one. But the way they're... the way things are moving, not really thrilled about that. All right, we are back up on the board. I think out of all these players here, Jaden Reed intrigues me. We got Makai Lemon, who hasn't been playing as much this offseason or practicing as much. And then we got guys like Jordan Addison, basically the same. We're going to go ahead and take Jaden Reed here, who I had already tagged up there. And I feel like we're going to have to go wide receiver here to kind of make up grounds. Another wide receiver that's been moving up the boards, if Jordan Addison isn't there, that I've been fine taking is Stephon Diggs. Wide receiver 2, plays for Washington. Everything we're hearing there is good. But this is basically the range of wide receivers that we're in right now. So I want to keep adding there. This is the type of wide receiver room I think we're going to look a little bit deeper in this draft versus the previous draft. But when we have elite 1Z position players in Lamar Jackson and Colston Loveland, I think we can really start hammering in other positions. Running back is something we're going to have to start working on as well, given the players that we have. Looks like our guy Blake Corum got taken already. Where did he get taken? Or am I not seeing this right? So we got Jonathan Brooks here in the 7th round. That has been someone who has been moving up. Blake Corum is there. I see him now. We're at 3 wide receivers. I think the running back room, let's see here. We got 2 workhorses here. Kyle Bells and Christian McCaffrey and Kenneth Walker. But somewhat injury prone. So I like to get a little more depth there as well. Makai Lemon keeps dropping, and there he goes taken. We'll see how far Alec Pierce drops. I think here, this is where the big decisions are made. Let's go ahead and I think I'm just going to take Stephon Diggs here. I'm going to take Stephon Diggs, get him a little higher than we've been usually drafting him, but this is right around where I thought he's going to be drafted. Stephon Diggs, that is. I think now that we obviously know what team he's playing for, and I think that's going to be a heavy pass. Very, very dependent on the pass game. Obviously, the run game is going to be important for that style offense. They got David Blau, who's over there, who's played under and has been under Ben Johnson's staff. The expectation is that he's going to bring over that offense there, which that offense leans heavily on the run game. But more importantly, the run game kicks everything off. The wide receivers are also playing a major role in that as well. Jaden Daniels news, man, the one that impacted Jaden Daniels the most is possibly losing Laramie Tunsil now for most of the season, if not all the season. We'll see how that plays out. I'm sure a lot of that is going to be contingent of how good the Washington Commanders are playing going deeper into the season. But I think guys like Diggs should still do well in that offense. He is firmly wide receiver 2. And let me tell you all something about Diggs that kind of adds into this wide receiver room. When you look at the wide receivers I have, I still think Diggs has room to be possibly the wide receiver 1 on that team and basically just outplaying Terry McLaurin. I think that Stephon Diggs still showed you that he was good enough last season to still be able to do those things, in which one of the reasons why I took Diggs where I took him in this particular roster construction that I'm doing, I'm leaving room for that as well. So that's something to play out there. We are 1-2-4-1 build. I think here for sure we're going to probably go running back, and then we'll start playing things differently. Michael Pittman, Xavier Worthy's are fine clicks, but I think we need to start tapping into the running back room. I think one of the greatest things, or one of the biggest things when drafting any type of draft, redrafts, best ball, whatever that may be, when you start going elite at other premium positions, it really just impacts the way your roster construction looks. And I think it really not only just challenges you, but puts you in a good spot here to work things differently. All right, we get Kyle Monangai, Michael Pittman. We're going to get a few picks here in return. I think we have a chance to still get some solid guys. Let's go ahead and take Kyle Monangai here. I think he's out of all the options there. Jordan Mason was intriguing as well. What's funny is Kyle Monangai has been a name I haven't been clicking as much, but in the last couple of drafts, I feel like I've gotten more of him. Michael Pittman comes off the board there. I didn't want to put myself in a spot where Mason and Rachaad White and Monangai goes before my next pick. Pull up the board here for y'all. So we saw Pittman go there. We already got Lamar Jackson, so I can hold back at the quarterback position for a little bit longer. So we got a 1-3-4-1 build. Michael Pittman was an option. As I said, there goes Mason. Now, I'm pretty sure we're going to see Rachaad White there, and that's going to prove why we went Monangai over another wide receiver. Sometimes when we're drafting, there are players that we just want to click on because we like them and we want them, but very important to still keep the construction alive to make sure your team balances out correctly, especially in these formats, because I don't want to be dead too early on when it comes to these pods. I want to make sure I find every way possible to advance, but there's still some routes we can take here, including adding another quarterback and a tight end. So we're going to lean in on our elite guys and hope that they are obviously the main reasons why these teams do well. All right, let's pull up the board here. Rachaad White is still on the board. Xavier Worthy is still on the board. Two names I did mention. So Kyler Murray comes off. Maybe we get a drop in Tyler Shuck later that we can take on there. And that might be the second quarterback we add to this team. And then based on what happens here, I think I like the Xavier Worthy route. Returns to practice on Monday. That's important. Someone who's been very injury prone. But I still like his chances going into this upcoming season. There's a lot of upside there. And I like how he dropped almost 10 spots past ADP. All right, we got a 1-3-5-1 build. We got Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, Kyle Monangai. At wide receiver, we got Zay Flowers, Jordan Tyson, Jaden Reed, Stephon Diggs, Xavier Worthy, and then at tight end, we got Colston Loveland. Let me pull up the board here for you guys. There's been a lot of stuff that we've been keeping locked in here. Some fun information. So with Stephon Diggs, we're seeing him play obviously a little bit more now in practice and building that rapport with Jaden Daniels. The big news, I think, outside of the Kyler Murray news, which we've touched on a bit, is the Pat Bryant news. Pat Bryant, this is what Zach Kelberman said yesterday. Pat Bryant might not just be wide receiver 3. He could be taking the wide receiver 2 torch from Courtland Sutton by the end of the season. Household name soon. I'm absolutely convinced. That is what he said on Twitter yesterday, and that has been the word. And again, if you were playing fantasy football last season, you saw very well how good Pat Bryant was playing towards the tail end of the season. So not surprised at all by this. So it could very well be Jalen Waddle and Pat Bryant to start the year. And we'll see if Courtland Sutton drops a little bit more. And then we'll have more conversation then as we get closer. All right, quarterback wise, right? Malik Willis and Jordan Love are options here for me. I do like some of the wide receivers that we have. And then at tight end, we do possibly get Mark Andrews. We're going to take the drop on Jordan Love since we do have Jaden Reed. Add another quarterback to this team. I think this is a good time to get a QB2. And then we'll see if Mark Andrews happens to drop to us to add on. It's not a necessity right now to add another tight end. We can absolutely go wide receiver depending on who's still left on the board. And then we will take different routes. I think I'm fine with a Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love team as far as 2 quarterbacks go. We'll see if Rashid Shaheed happens to be here. If so, that's another option there. Running back is starting to get a little interesting. I might see, as much as I want Mark Andrews, I think running back may be the right route here. We're off to 3 running backs on this team. Again, building this team with those first 2 picks, we are leaning in on the fact that those are going to be our guys. Let's see what Mason takes here before us and see if that has any impact on what route we go here. But in reality, Tyron Tracy and Woody Marks, running back 2s for their team. Woody Marks maybe has a little bit more of an opening there. Pat Bryant, round 12, y'all. All right, what do y'all think? We got Mark Andrews. We got Rashid Shaheed. I feel with Colston Loveland, we don't have to force this as well. But I do like getting the stack. I think we're going to take Andrews here. We got him to drop a little bit to us. It's rare we get that. And we'll take a look at correlation-wise, since we have a nice little Baltimore Ravens stack. So we're going to find a way to get a Cincinnati player. We can do that with another tight end, but again, that's not something I like to push there. Baltimore Ravens, we got Pittsburgh and Cleveland as other options as well. So we'll see how this plays out for us. So we got the board up. Hunter Henry goes. I think a lot of why Hunter Henry is starting to move up a little bit here is a lot to do with his extension that he just signed. So that helps where he's going. That doesn't change much for me as far as my thoughts on Hunter Henry. I think he's fine. I think he's just fine. Just a fine player where you're drafting him. He's got the role and such. I believe we should start seeing more of Eli Raridan. And now there's more mouths to feed. So I'm not in on Hunter Henry necessarily. And honestly, I don't even be moving him much. The only times I've gotten Hunter Henry, and I think yesterday we did a draft with Drake May, is really just to stack him with Drake May. But to get him as a one-off, I try not to add to that on my teams. We see Chig Okonkwo. I think he's someone who doesn't benefit greatly from Stephon Diggs. Now, we'll see how that looks for him this year. Might have more opportunities there than he did in Tennessee. Tennessee, he felt like he was getting underutilized a lot. So there's always been upside. He's flashed that at times. We'll see if Chick finally gets more run there. We see Tyron Tracy and Woody Marks goes to the 1 spot right there. 2 running backs we were talking about. So we'll see what our options are. Rashid Shaheed. I feel like Rashid Shaheed has been dropping a bit more. I'm not sure if I've been following the news or something happened on Hard Knocks, but I felt Shaheed was moving, like round 10 moving. Well, maybe not round 10. I'm sorry. Round 11. I've seen him go as high as round 11. And in these last 2 drafts, I've seen him firmly going in the round 12 and round 13. So I may need to look into that. Maybe it's the excitement behind Torrey Horton, who's a really solid wide receiver. You know, he was hurt, but I felt like getting Rashid Shaheed, you know, both of them play very similar styles. All right, we're pulling up here. We're going to come up here. I think with the options on the board, I like Omar Cooper here. I think we should take Jonah Coleman, y'all. I need to add another tight end to this room. And we're going to go with a younger guy who could very well be a sleeper this year. So we'll see how that looks. If J.K. Dobbins can't stay healthy, Jonah Coleman is directly correlated, in my opinion, to Dobbins than he is to R.J. Harvey. Been trying to get a little bit more of him, and we got him in the last draft as well. So I'm trying to up my exposure with a player like Jonah Coleman. And then we'll see here in these picks, this might be the route we go. I think we're going to have to go wide receiver here with the options left still on the board. I'm not too interested in Daniel Jones right here. I think we're solid at quarterback right now with Lamar Jackson and Jordan Love. And a lot of that, to me, has more to do with Lamar Jackson. I've seen a lot of Marshawn Lloyd going in round 13. And if the news is true that Josh Jacobs could very well be suspended, then I absolutely get it. I thought I had more Marshawn Lloyd in BBMs, but I guess I just have them throughout other tournaments like the puppy and such. All right, we're going to take Omar Cooper. I think he's the right pick there. And that puts us now 2-4-6-2 build. We got 2 tight ends. We don't need to force any more of the tight end position. I'm actually perfectly fine if we end our draft with these 2 guys here. In part of why I wanted to do a different build with an elite tight end. Done a lot of builds with Colston Loveland, and it feels good when I do this. And I'll be honest, since we are drafting every single day leading off to the NFL kickoff, so make sure you guys are staying tuned here. As ADP starts shifting and starts, I guess, correcting itself based on all the news we're going to be getting, it's going to be very interesting to start looking at these boards from now until then and seeing how things shift. And obviously strategies and such, we're going to be getting away from a lot of it. And I think the tight end one is going to be the toughest part. Drafting a tight end early now, it's fine. Earlier on, it was even easier. I think later, now as we get into and closer to the season, it's going to be much harder because we're going to see these wide receivers fly off the board early and running backs as well. 2 positions that you want depth in when it comes to best ball for sure. All right, let me pull up the board. I haven't been doing a great job on that to make sure, give you guys a little bit of what's going on in this current lobby. If you guys are here with us for the very first time, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, hit that notification button to stay locked in with everything that's going on. And if you have been hanging out with us, same goes to y'all. Thank you so much for being on with me here. We are a few rounds away. We are doing our second BBM of the night. And we are drafting 31 days straight, which lead us to the NFL kickoff. This is day 4 of that. Tomorrow we might shake things up. We might go on to the other site. We'll see how things flow, how things go. We definitely want to see how that certain board looks like, the ADP stuff over there, given that it's a different format. Underdog is half PPR and DraftKings is full PPR. Fernando Mendoza moved up to the round 15. We were talking about I've been getting him more in round 16 and 17, but I'm not in need there. I would love to get our guy Adonai Mitchell here, and we get him. Dylan Sampson is someone, honestly, I haven't gotten much of. Makes sense with the Lamar Jackson build, but I wanted to add another wide receiver here. And honestly, now that I look at it, with getting Omar Cooper Jr. and Adonai Mitchell, Geno Smith does make sense on this team. There goes Dylan Sampson off the board. I actually been wanting to do this, getting the Jets wide receivers, the later ones, versus Garrett Wilson and Adonai Mitchell, because we're paying the high price on Garrett Wilson at that point. I like this route if we can get Geno Smith here, actually. So fingers crossed that we can get him. This looks like a 6 running back room as well. We are in round 16, so we got a few more rounds. And I think I have an idea how this is going to go too. But yeah, after getting these two guys, I actually wanted to do this perfectly here. Let's get Geno Smith on this team. Now we got Lamar, Jordan Love, and Geno. We're going to stay with 2 tight ends. And we're going to add, obviously, another running back or 2 here. And then wide receiver, we'll see how things plan out. Let's pull up the New York Jets best ball correlated playoff weeks, right? And let me pull the board here for those who are following there as well. The Jets, we got Arizona, New England, and Minnesota. So we got New England, Minnesota, and Arizona. Not the draft we get Jeremiah Love. So we really don't have much here. We could try to add something towards the tail end, given the positions we talked about that we still need. So Arizona, New England, and Minnesota. We can probably add a Boutte. We can possibly add Damon Claiborne is an option here. I'm actually going to probably click him here in round 16 if he happens to be here. Hopefully no one is on this stream that is drafting alongside of him. We'll put him on there. 6 picks away. Yeah, I think we should go Claiborne here. Round 17 and 18, you can kind of play around with it however you want in terms of when to draft these guys, in my opinion. At this point, the expectation is about the same here. Let's pull this up here. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. We are 2 rounds away. We will be back again tomorrow night. So make sure to stay locked in. Hit that notification button to stay in tune on what time. I plan to still hop on around this time tomorrow. Maybe a little bit earlier. We'll see how things flow. And if so, a little bit earlier, maybe an hour earlier or so. And then we're waiting to hear back from a few other guests. And I'll make sure to announce that as soon as I get that information. But next week, we're going to be up. I'll be streaming, I think, Monday or Tuesday twice, because I'll be on Felix Castro's channel and my channel as well. And then he'll be hopping on over on our channel next week. The following day. All right, we're coming up here. Let me see who's still on the board. You know what? I think we still get Claiborne, honestly. Let's go ahead. Did Jerry Jeudy just go? He sure did. Let's take Boutte. Yeah, I think we should take Boutte. There'll be 2 drafts. We take Kayshon Boutte. I think that makes sense here. We had another wide receiver to this room. And then we'll just get Claiborne. And I think that room is fine. I'm not too worried there. Let's hope that we do get Claiborne here. We get lucky. Like I said, I hope no one's in this draft watching us and figuring out that. That's coming up next here. I think we should be fine. If not, we're obviously going to pivot a different route. And there are some other options that we can go here as well. Man, there's going to be some running backs we're going to see coming up too when we, in this next couple of weeks, like Najee Harris. Does he end up on another team? Who is he going to sign with? Is James Conner going to get traded? You know, obviously by the time we get into next week, we sure as heck get Damon Claiborne. I like this move. I think this worked out perfectly for us. Let me pull up the board so you guys can see how this round's about. But yeah, guys like Najee Harris, James Conner, if he gets traded, there's a few guys we're still waiting on. And yeah, we're going to see how things shift for sure. Let's see how this pans out here for us as we move forward. And we're going to see who Mr. Relevant, Irrelevant is here. Let's see. Devontae Walker, Elijah Surratt. We got 2 Baltimore guys here. And who do we get here? My screen. I hope it did not freeze. Let's see here. The last pick. Yeah, I'm having problems with my screen here. Hopefully you guys are still watching. And we get Gio Bernard. Or Jeremy Bernard, I should say. Gio Bernard is another player. He used to play for the Cincinnati Bengals. So that is the team. Let me go ahead and recap this team. We got a 3-5-8-2 build. We have Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love, Geno Smith. 3 quarterbacks. At running back, we got Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, Kyle Monangai, Jonah Coleman, Damon Claiborne. At wide receiver, we have Zay Flowers, Jordan Tyson, Jaden Reed, Stephon Diggs, Xavier Worthy, Omar Cooper Jr., Adonai Mitchell, and Kayshon Boutte. So we got a little double stack there for Geno Smith. We got Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews for Lamar Jackson. And then we got Jordan Love and Jaden Reed stacked. At tight end, we go Colston Loveland and Mark Andrews. Man, if Mark Andrews can give us any bit of what he's given us in the past, he has less competition to work with now. So I'm expecting a much better season for him. And then as far as the Jets, we were able to get Claiborne, Minnesota, week 17, and then Kayshon Boutte for New England. Why is my screen? I'm telling y'all, this is awful. Hopefully you guys can. Not sure what happened there. My screen was giving up there. I'm not sure what happened. I'm so sorry for that. But like I said, make sure to stay tuned in. We will be back tomorrow. I can pull up the team right now. We could do this real quick again. Sorry about that, y'all. I really don't know what happened there. My whole screen, I had to refresh it, and then boom. There we go. Let's pull this up right here. So that was the team that we were looking at. I kind of mentioned it already. But yes, make sure to stay locked in. We're going to be back on tomorrow. We're going to be on every single night leading up to the NFL kickoff. I mentioned it a few times already in the stream, but we do have some guests next week that I'm excited to continue to share about, and a few others that we are waiting in the pipeline. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification button. A lot of exciting things coming in the next couple days, weeks. And of course, we have a fun preseason slate ahead of us this week. Thank y'all. Have a great night and peace.